We've been focusing mostly on, hey, how do we make it really easy for people to use? So multiple devices, easy user experience. How do we make the tool help you tell the story so that the story moves to the front, and that the tool is really just the means to the end rather than the center of the what's going on?
Well, yeah, this is more like a real tabletop and less like a computer program where you just got a map just so people can see what you're describing, and maybe you can calculate movement and maybe calculate things like cover, but you're not actually trying to simulate a real life experience. Like when I first moved digital back in March, I was just using Adobe Illustrator and a maps, and I just draw black boxes on the rooms they hadn't gone in yet, and I just delete them when they go into it. Super simple, right? And I thought, oh, COVID's only gonna be like a month or two, not worth like investing in a VTT and learning it and all this kind of stuff, because I did it to play. I was playing to play in person, not online, but that didn't happen. So eventually I was like, all right, now I got to move to a VTT, because it just makes, there's a lot of things you can do that just makes life easier when you have maps and things like that.
That's the other thing, is we are also designed to support in-person play, right? And so let me just show you this finish encounter dialogue real quick, where we can, this is showing you, okay, you defeated these monsters, right? So it's going to automatically divide the experience point among the two of you, right? And that's just stuff. It also reminds me that there's some treasure that hasn't been granted. So if you guys had actually searched and found the treasure here, I can say, okay, there we go, and grant it, and that's going to show up in your shared treasury, and you guys can distribute it among yourselves.
I like that.
And that sort of stuff. And as soon as I hit OK, you'll notice your character sheet got updated with the experience points for it. Now, you're not required to track experience points. Some DMs choose to use milestones and that kind of stuff, but the fact that it automatically calculates experience points and automatically distributes them makes it a heck of a lot easier to give players that reward of experience points, right? Which
there's two reasons I don't use experience points. One, I don't want to calculate it. Two, sometimes you might have them do part of a mission that doesn't actually have a lot of enemies they fight, but you still want them to level up. So in that instance,
that's fine, and that's the reason on that dialogue, right on the finish dialogue here, you can actually award additional experience points for quest goals and that sort of stuff. So it's not all just based on monsters. Like I'd say, okay, you get 1,000 experience points for the quest goal, and that's 500 per player, right? And there you go. Or that's you can do directly here.
Cool, nice. So, mainly though, because I don't like calculating it.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly.
But if you have something like this, it makes it really easy to. You could run that way much more easily. But when you're running like 6 players, like as a DM, you're like, I don't want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's experience.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So it just makes it very easy to track and that sort of stuff, and award experience. And so on. So
I do like the shared loot thing too, because that doesn't exist on everything else I've used, and you just kind of got to tell people, oh, you got 5 gems, you guys need to add them to your character sheets.
So if you roll down on your character sheet near the equipment, you'll see an area for the shared treasury. That's there. Should be there. Why is it not showing up on your character sheet, Darren? Do I not get access to that button?
Nope, you don't get access to it.
That's right.
Oh yeah, looks like my guy leveled up. I don't see a shared treasure though.
It's down next to the equipment.
Yep.
Equipment and treasure changes. Might be in here. What equipment did I get? Or not equipment, treasure.
So you see where Hal is looking?
Equipment, yes.
Right over next to the add button is a shared treasure button.
Oh, okay.
It only shows up in your view.
You
should see the copper pieces and the silver goblet in there, and you can distribute them how you see fit.
You can show the DM version there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got it. Okay, cool.
There you go. All right, so that's the basics of adding a map, picking an adventure, that sort of thing. Let's talk about if we wanted to define an encounter. I'm the DM and I want to define an encounter, right? So I want to go create one, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to say new encounter on this map, right? And it gives it the name of the map by default. Or if you're in a book, it'll give it the name of the book section that you're on. So this is actually the name of the book section I'm in. That's the basin, right? And so I just say, okay, great. That's what I'm going to create. Give me a pin for basin here, and then I can add monsters to it. So I can go and search for any monster I want. So let's say, okay, we want vampire spawn is what we're going to add to this thing. So we'll add one of those, and let's get a couple zombies as well. So let's get a zombie. Let's do 2 of those, 3 of those, and add some monsters. And all the tokens show up. I can distribute them as I like, right? I can add whatever text to the book I want over there. I could add a treasure token, add a map token or a treasure token directly and define the treasure that's for this encounter. And then when I close it, when I'm done, right now this pin is shown up on the map, and to activate that encounter, I just say start encounter. That easy. I just defined an encounter and prepped it ready to run. It added all the monsters to the list, and you're away and running. So you can literally create encounters on the fly, on the run.
The advantage of the encounters being pre-created is if you decide you want to replay this in a different campaign or go back to this section, it'll all be there and ready to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this pin is now pinned to this map, right? And the next time I invoke this map in another campaign, that pin will be there with that encounter on it.
Yeah, it's great for your reusability. I don't know that other VTTs really do encounters like that, because usually I just delete the tokens and that's it. If I want to run it again, I have to drag them back in.
Right. Now this is you define an encounter, and it's including the treasure and the, if you wanted to make adjustments to the monsters, you can make adjustments to the monsters. If you want to create unique creatures, you can create those, and so on, and put them all in the encounters.
And nice. You can see that the encounter's tagged in the book as well. So if you weren't on the map and you wanted to go to it, you could do that from the book over there as well. The little dragon icon there.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's
Why don't you point to that, Hal?
Right here.
Yes, I see that.
So I now have 2 of those in the book, and so if I wanted to go to the other one, right, that was the original one defined over here in the deep bunker, there it is, right, and I've accidentally tied 2 maps and 2 encounters to this section of the book, but that was sort of intentional here. But,
nice.
Yep.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that, and I especially like that you can pop it right out of the book into the.
Right. The other thing you can do from a book here is if I want a handout for my players, I can just click on any box text, and that now is visible to the players, and they can read it for themselves, or I can read it to them, or whatever else. So that's supported. So that's one kind of handout. And then the other kind of handout here, back to introduction. Does this one have introduction? No, it doesn't. Let me just pick a different book here, and I'll talk to you about the other kind of handout. Here in the city, I've got a piece of artwork attached to this book that is my, bulletin board thing, and I just click on it, and now that's also shared with the players.
Nice.
Right? So that becomes a handout that they can reference, right? And then the other way I can create a handout is any creature here. So let's go look at our vampire spawn, right? And when you first encounter this thing, if I want to show you the token, there it is in full size.
Nice.
Right. So any of those things can become handouts. Anywhere there's artwork in the system or a box text or whatever else, those can become handouts. And they go into the shared handout list, and the last 10 are accessible immediately to the players.
That's very cool. Yeah, I like that. It makes it very fast to run, and you don't have to do a lot of setup. If you were to be a DM and you just buy a book on here, you wouldn't have to do too much to set it up. Obviously, if you're home brewing, you're still going to have to set all that stuff up.
Right. That's right. But even then, we make it pretty quick to author things. You can import your text directly from your editor and define, import your artwork, and away you go. As soon as the art's in, it's automatically a handout, or usable as a handout. All right. So the other thing you should note here is the way we usually kick off sessions for, a professional DM that's got a bunch of new players is, the character list comes in and they're all in the tracker here. And what I'll do is I'll just click on their token and say, hey, Ulmer, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your character, introduce yourself as a player. And then a lot of times for our sessions, we run, one shots that are introductory lessons for people. And I've created a little adventure hook called Lyndon's Adventures. And Lyndon is this mysterious character that basically sends you one of those notes at the beginning of the adventure. And so I have the players, when they introduce themselves, tell me, how do you know Lyndon? Right. And they often make up a very elaborate story about who Lyndon is and how they know him and everything else. And like everybody's story is different. Right? And so it's a great way to do an icebreaker for a new group of players.
That is pretty good. Yeah.